Disagreements are inevitable in life, but how can we deal with them? TikTok is set to be banned soon, but for what reason? And the place you begged to go as a kid now resembles a depressed adult, just like you. No offense. So what does that mean for society? We'll talk about all of that and so much more. I'm Mike Lowe, and this is The Mo Show. Welcome back, everybody. Good to be with you again here in the studio. Hope you're doing well. Hope this finds you well. It's very good to be back here on this wonderful morning. And I hope that everybody had a good holiday season. Christmas, New Year, if that's what you celebrate. And hopefully, with this cold front coming in now, I know, for me, it's probably not as near as bad for some of you out there, depending on where you're watching this from, but when the temperatures go down into the 20-degree area, then for southern Alabama boys such as myself, it makes us not want to get out of bed. Not that I particularly have a strong desire to get out of bed every morning. The blankets get really heavy, real heavy in the morning, but we'll make it through it. We'll be fine. Just got to bundle up, get all my hoodies out, and start layering them on. I actually have a sleeping bag coat. That's what I call it. It's a heavier coat than the rest of my hoodies. And the thing, I know I'm rabbit trailing here a little bit, but the thing about hoodies a lot of times is they work fine indoors. They insulate, they hold in the heat well to your body. But then as soon as you go outside, if there's any type of wind or anything, then it blows right through the material because it's not thick enough, heavy enough to handle it. Whereas my heavier coat has this outer layer. It's more of like a raincoat on the outside, so that kind of blocks the wind. And then on the inside, it's fuzzy. It's got all the padding, and it's so nice and warm. It does not let heat out at all, except through the bottom or through up by my neck. So it's very comfy, and I have a feeling that it's going to get a lot of use. But enough about the weather. On to the more important things, like the steering wheel. Please bear with me here. This is in a very good spot for me right now because my computer screen is right here. I know you can't really see it because you're looking at me and Pandy. But I got this. It's got these little clamps, and I got it down in a good spot. And I really don't feel like moving it just for the show. So please just bear with me today. I beg of you, because this is a pain to get situated correctly. I got to do something about this. I don't really want to drill into my desk, but I got to come up with some sort of solution because the thing slides around too much. It's got the force feedback motors in it, so it gives it more of a feel of like a real vehicle when I'm playing my games. But with that, you have to turn the wheel a lot harder sometimes, and the more force you put on it with only 2 points where it hangs onto my desk, the less stable it is. So all that to say, please ignore this. This is very annoying to have to move. Where were we? I'm sorry. My brain wandered off on a trail, on a rabbit trail. My train of thought has left the station. We got to reel it back in. We got to call that train back. Get the conductor on the line. Agreeing to disagree. Having difference of opinion. What in the world? Everybody has this. You, as my audience, you are not going to agree with me on everything. And the same goes vice versa. Obviously, because number one, I'm one person and there's many of you. So therefore, there's going to be differences between y'all as my audience. Because there's millions of people that watch this show. Obviously not. I'd like there to be. I would very much like that, but that's not where we're at right now, and that's okay. You do not see eye to eye with me on everything. There's going to be differences, even the ones that would say they would agree with me, there's still going to be small differences, such as something as stupid as food taste. Because there are certain things that some people like that other people don't like. I am a macaroni and cheese connoisseur. I do not take my mac and cheese very lightly. It's also because I enjoy eating a lot, as you can tell. But agreeing to disagree. No two snowflakes are the same. It's been said before, and you've probably heard that before. Did I just call all of you snowflakes? Maybe, maybe not. You can take that as you will. The point is that no matter how much you may agree with somebody on something, you're never going to agree with them on everything because you're not the same person. There's always going to be at least some small thing that makes you not identical in the way that you view the world, view your life, view whatever it may be. But does that mean that we have to constantly be at each other's throat? More and more? The answer seems to be yes, apparently. Let's get into this a little bit. So, we are going to naturally disagree with people. Does that mean we can't have a nice conversation? Does that mean we can't be cordial? Does that mean we can't speak with them, interact with them? Absolutely not, and obviously not. Going back to the example of me disagreeing with my audience, how would we have a podcast? How would I have a show if we couldn't communicate because of our differences? It doesn't make any sense. And it's important to not make that the defining feature of somebody. It's important that we don't allow what we disagree on to become the only thing we focus on. If you have any friends at all, if you have a friend group such as I do, not a large friend group, but friends that I do appreciate and truly care about, it's important, if you really want to enjoy your time with them, to enjoy each other's company, to make memories, then you're not sitting around focusing on what makes you different. That's not how friendships work. You go and you enjoy yourselves. You go and do things. Pardon my bumping the microphone. You go and do things that all of you can enjoy together. You do have things you could differ on, and you might roast each other for it. I'm not denying that, but it's not 24/7. You'd never get anywhere. You wouldn't be friends very long with them if that's all you did. And it's important to not let the thing that you disagree about, or take it a step further. Maybe you resent them for something. That's why a lot of times people don't talk politics or religion, because those are very strongly held beliefs that people, in many cases, not everybody, but generally speaking, people get more passionate in defending about. And if you attack, the closer that you hold that belief, if somebody disagrees with you on one of those topics, then it can feel like a personal attack a lot more. That's why a lot of times at family get-togethers, just every day at work, coworkers, people you have to be with hours a day, you don't want to be at their throats constantly. In order to get work done, you got to be on the same page to some degree. A lot of times, just don't discuss that, and I get it. Okay, I get it. And it's important, that's why it's important that the people that you would discuss this with, that you don't allow disagreements, since there's going to be some sort of disagreement, whether big or small, that you don't let that to define that person in your mind. You don't think, oh, that's the person that disagrees with me on this. And I don't think people do. I'm just putting this out there because a lot of times when there's resentment, when there's ill will, hate, we slip into this without realizing. We just think about how we're right and they're wrong. A lot of times we don't really think about what we're actually doing and how that can hurt whatever relationship, acquaintance, whatever, whoever it may be. Now, in my religion, I am a Christian, and so my view of things is probably different than yours. It's fine. It's fine. It's what we're here all about. It's important to love the sinner and hate the sin. So we have things that we say are wrong. Okay. And we recognize that people slip up, people do what's wrong a lot of times. And it's important that I myself am worried on myself about doing what's right as much as I can. I can't control Pandy. Lord knows I try. I can't control what he does. I can't control anybody else around me. And not even my friends. I'm not anybody's boss, per se. Say, don't do this, don't do that. I can't control if they do right. I'm very thankful to have friends that do right, for the more childish, including myself. For those that do right, obviously I'm thankful, but I can't control what they do. I can only work on me. With that being said, there's going to be people that do things that I don't like. There are going to be people that do things that maybe aren't religious, that do things that I consider to be wrong. Does that mean that I have to hate that person? No. I am to love people as God loves people. That's what I am to do. Now, does that make that thing that they're doing necessarily right? No, I never said that. In my view, in their view, maybe it's acceptable. In my view, no. Does that mean I have to hate them? Does that mean I can't have a conversation with them? Does that mean I can't do something nice for them? Absolutely not. However, does that mean that I'm going to go and do whatever with them that I think is wrong? No, not necessarily. Okay, here's an example. So, trying to find something that we can kind of agree on that's wrong. I might have to go a little extreme on this. Coffee break. Gotta get the brain working here. Let's say I knew somebody that was trying their best to get over a drug addiction. Let's say that somebody was trying to get on the right path, but old habits die hard, and let's say I was making acquaintance with them and wanting to, maybe we found something we really like. Maybe we both like working on cars. Cool. We can do that. I can love that person as God loves that person according to my beliefs. Does that mean I have to go shoot up heroin with them? No. Excuse me. That's not loving. That's not compassionate. See, and a lot of times, here's where I have problems. Going on a tangent here a little bit. I tend to be a little too honest with people. I tend to tell them the truth, even if a lot of people don't really think, this might not be such a great idea right now. I am the type of person that would rather go ahead and say the truth, go ahead and tell them the true thing, if I think that not telling them the truth, if I withhold it, if I don't say anything about it, if I think it's going to hurt them, especially, then yes, I'm 100% going to go ahead and say whatever I'm going to say, because at that point, the argument becomes, well, if I tell them that, then it might hurt some feelings. It might hurt them in the long run. I don't want to be mean to them. Where's the compassion in letting them hurt themselves because I kept my mouth shut? Think about that. Where's the love and compassion? Am I really their friend at that point? Because they might not like it, but they know that I saw. I'm not stupid. I saw what was going on, and I tried to warn them about it. Whereas if they get down the road, I never said nothing about it, and they're just still doing whatever and still hurting themselves, whether on purpose or inadvertently, and I didn't say nothing and I could see it, then what kind of friend am I at that point? I know obviously you got to use tact in certain family and friend situations, but come on. Why are we so afraid to say true things? That's one thing that constantly amuses me. Whenever people get called out on something and they get so offended at the person for calling them out on it, it's just like, okay, so I'm wrong for saying that you're doing the wrong thing, but you're not wrong for doing it? Like, there's an easy, how about you fix the wrong thing? Okay, if somebody comes up and tries to criticize, ask yourself, is what they're saying true? Is what they're saying about me true? If not, who cares? It's not true. They're lying. If it is true, then fix the problem. Not that hard. But I digress. I would rather be honest, and they can take that as they will. How they respond, and I understand this is where things get difficult because we're afraid as humans if we tell somebody the truth, they're not going to like it. They're not going to like us. They're going to cut us off. They're going to take it the wrong way. This is why it's important to have a little 2-word thing I call good faith arguments, discussions, whatever, conversations, whatever the case may be. It needs to be in good faith. What does that mean? It means that what I say isn't intended to hurt somebody. It's not, I'm saying this to hurt your feelings, to make you feel bad, to do whatever. I'm saying this because it's the truth. I'm saying this because I want you to know that I care about you enough to not lie to you. Another point on this, by the way, before I get off the soapbox. Do you know how disrespectful it is to lie to somebody? And just, like, you think they're so stupid that they can't, when something's obviously true and they just try to gaslight you, it's just like, really? You think I'm that stupid that I believe? Anyway, carrying on here. It's just so disrespectful. I'm sorry. I can't do this. It's just so ridiculous. They think we're stupid. That's why it's important to have good faith conversations. And you can, at that point, you can discuss anything with anybody if you're doing it in good faith. That's the problem with a lot of times when people debate or they'll go through arguments. Debate is the right word there. That's the word I'm looking for. They think everybody thinks that a debate is all about tearing the other person down. It's all about getting your 2 cents in, showing them, owning them, destroying them with facts and logic. Okay, maybe you will do that if you're good at debating, sure. But is that really your goal going into all this? Is that what you're after? Is that what both parties? It takes 2 to argue. It takes 2 to debate, or more, I suppose. But is that really what you're trying to do? Or are you trying to express ideas? Are you trying to learn more about something? Are you trying to tell somebody something through your own studying, research, whatever, arguments? Are you trying to say, hey, did you know this about this? Not in a condescending way, but did you know? Do you have all the facts here? Maybe you can educate them, not in like I'm going to teach you a lesson type way, but like, hey, here's something you may not have known. Bring up points, and maybe you will learn something. And maybe you're going to get to a point to where they say something against what you believe and you don't know. Are you humble enough to go and say, and honest enough to say, I don't have the answers, can I go research this? It's not all about tearing people down all the time. That's how you tear down friendships, you tear down relationships. It's such a dangerous tool. Be very careful and keep the lines of communication open. We're going to get to more of that here in a second, but don't shut other people off just because they disagree with you in good faith. In good faith. If they're trying to harass you, that's one thing. If they're trying to come after you, they're trying to attack you, and making threats, that's not okay. Don't misconstrue what I'm saying. If y'all are having a conversation in good faith, maybe you'll get mad at something. Maybe. Give yourself time to cool down then. If you need to chill out a little bit, that's fine. Understand, we're humans. We have emotions. We have feelings. It's going to happen. I'm not saying we don't, but if you're having conversations, discussions, or whatnot, in good faith, keep those communication lines open. You don't have to shut somebody off or completely cut them off. They're allowed to say what they're going to say, think what they're going to think, if it's in good faith, and if they're expressing their viewpoint. You don't have to completely cut them off just because they think differently than you. And this has become ever prevalent, moving on here, and so obvious in the social media world. So, a couple things have been happening recently. Quite a bit's been happening, actually, recently with social media companies. First off, recently, in light of political events, shall we say, election, we have seen Mark Zuckerberg come out and change his view a lot. Quite a bit, actually, on censorship. It's been interesting to see him, I guess, change course, per se. He has... Excuse me. He has recently come out and made some changes in the way he's running. So he owns Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram's parent company. And it's very, among other things, yes, but those are the two giants that everybody knows and everybody is on. He's advocating for things like community notes instead of fact checkers. He's saying about, he addressed how he's kind of censored more conservative leaning outlets, and that does make a difference, though, what people see in their feeds, because a lot of people just go through their home feed when they do their doom scrolling. Just go through their For You or their home feed or whatever app, platform, or whatnot you're on. Then that's how they do it. And when you take that away, people that you're actively following, taking away their content, not showing that as much because you disagree with what they're saying, it's a major problem. That's a major issue. And it's very good to see that he's changing course on some of this, but also you got to ask yourself, is he just doing this because he doesn't want to get hit with a ton of regulations? Because he, shall we say that the timing is telling here? Why didn't he do this earlier on? Why is it just now? He's not exactly hiding the ball, like I said, with the timing. Now that we're switching presidents, and he's probably trying to gather a little bit of favor here. Like, please don't come after me as much as you were thinking. I'm on your side. Say about that what you will. It's good that he's doing what he's doing, but are his motives correct? And, furthermore, let's say that, so right now, Donald Trump is set to be inaugurated here in 2 days. I'm recording this on the 18th of January. And he is set to be inaugurated. He is of the Republican Party. What if somebody comes in from the Democrat Party and gets elected, inaugurated in a couple of years? then what? Is he going to change it right back and go right back to... See, it doesn't... I'm not sure if his changes to his methods, to his policies are genuine. If he was really... I'm a little bit torn on this. I've been thinking about this a little bit. Is he doing this because he doesn't want to get the book thrown at him? He doesn't want to get hammered down with regulations. Okay, obviously nobody would want that. Or is he just doing, or is he actually doing this because he sees an opportunity to open up free speech, whereas he wasn't able to do that before because the previous administration, I mean, in his closing remarks, Joe Biden was talking about the oligarchy, the tech oligarchy, was warning against it, and literally, I mean, maybe not quite as recently because it's been a little bit of time has passed since Elon Musk bought Twitter, now X. Real. I'm not even on there. And X, really? Everybody has known this to be Twitter. Okay. Anyway, he bought it. He can name it whatever. Okay, fine, whatever. He bought Twitter. I'm still calling it that. Everybody knows what it is. He bought Twitter, and he wanted to open up to more free speech, to more speech. You can say about it what you will. You could say Elon Musk is a terrible person for what he's done. Okay, fine. You can criticize his business practices. I'm not really a numbers guy. Whatever. You might disagree with me on that. The other thing is, though, that Mark Zuckerberg is now doing some similar stuff like the community notes. That's something that they do on Twitter. Instead of doing the fact checkings, they take what people are saying. If something's not necessarily true that somebody posts, they take what people are saying into consideration and then put that as a note on there instead of just an organization with their own beliefs, values, and interests coming in and saying, well, we don't like what they're saying, so we're going to mark it false. It's like, okay, well, now this is just I think the fact checkers actually fact checked what Mark Zuckerberg did. It's like Mark Zuckerberg is getting rid of the fact checkers, and the fact checkers don't like it. Well, obviously they don't. Like, that doesn't mean it's not true or not right what they're doing. Like, oh, what a ridiculous place. What a ridiculous society we live in. It is truly ridiculous. And it's important, though, that we realize that, hey, maybe Zuckerberg isn't doing this because it's the right thing to do. Maybe he's just doing this so he doesn't get cracked down on, because I suppose only time will tell. But if somebody else comes into office that holds different viewpoints, maybe he was genuinely with the whole FBI coming after him for the Hunter Biden laptop story, where they said to be on the lookout for false information on the Hunter Biden laptop story a couple years ago, and right before the election, before Joe Biden won the election. I mean, obviously, if the FBI comes and says that, then you're going to want to go along with, you don't want to get in hot water with the FBI. Okay, I get that. You don't want to be on their list, per se. I don't know if you'll be on an official list, but you don't want to get in trouble with them. So maybe he was a little bit, not skittish, but hesitant to go against what they were saying because he was afraid they were going to crack down on him. But like I said, only time will tell. Is he gonna hang on to what he's saying now, or is he gonna switch back again whenever somebody else holds different beliefs than him? I get it's business. I get he doesn't want to deal with the regulations and the fees and whatever they're going to try and throw at him. But do you believe what you're saying, or do you not? Are you just saying it for show? Only time will tell. That's what I'm saying. Getting away from Meta, TikTok is set to be banned here. In fact, this weekend, actually. So there's a lot of differing thoughts on this. There's a lot of different perspectives and views. And I've been thinking about this a lot too. I've been thinking about the the whole Meta thing, and now I've been thinking a lot about TikTok ban. So the Supreme Court, I believe it was, yes, ruled that the TikTok ban passed by Congress is going to go into effect this weekend. And there's a lot of going back and forth on this. So obviously TikTok, man, that's ridiculous. Man, when TikTok blew up, when it became big in 2020, COVID 2020, because everybody was stuck in their house, we were locked down. Remember, 2 weeks to slow the spread? Look how that went. It was a little longer than 2 weeks, if you ask me. Either that or is a very long 2 weeks, and time is subjective. Anyway, that was 5 years ago. That's crazy. I suppose the original lockdowns aren't quite 5 years ago yet, but we're coming up on it. It was in March when they first said that we had to quarantine. That's crazy that 5 years has already passed since then. Half a decade. Man. But I specifically remember in late 2019 and early 2020, TikTok was really becoming big. It had been around before that, but it really blew up around that time. I would say maybe 2018, 2019, actually. But it's getting banned. It's set to get banned here in the U.S., which is where I'm at. And I'm a little bit indifferent. I don't really have, excuse me, I have a whole lot of care here. I do care a little bit, but not the way that other people care about it. I don't have TikTok. I don't have a lot of social media, and I'm fine with that. Less drama that way, right? Well, social medias that I do have give me enough to keep up with. But anyway, so yeah, I have enough. I have enough places to go doom scroll, so I don't need to add another one. And take that as you will. I'm not on TikTok. So this TikTok ban doesn't really affect me directly, necessarily, because I'm not getting banned here. I'm not not one of the ones that would be getting shut off here. But I do have some thoughts on it, though. So the whole thing with them wanting to ban it, it's already been banned on government-owned and run devices. Okay. I do understand that because it's considered a security risk. And China, as much as people, once again, have different political views, although I want to say this one's more of a bipartisan, no matter how you view politics, a lot more people are, they're more likely to tend to believe that China is not, they don't have our interest, they don't have the same interest we do. If you want to take it a step further, I would say that they could be a threat if they're not kept an eye on. Maybe you don't think that, but they don't have our interests at heart. Everything we have is made in China. We can get it cheaper that way. I get it. People want their cheap Amazon goodies. Okay, that's fine, but how far are we willing to go with it exactly? Because we're not guaranteed that the data that TikTok collects from us, where's that going exactly? We know for a fact that obviously it's a China-based company. Now, I have never, I've opened TikToks and browser links that people send me. That's as far as I've gone before. See, I'm a very old man. I've never been on TikTok in the U.S., let alone the Chinese version. It's different in China from what I've been told. It's more education based. It's more to push their beliefs, their values to the Chinese people, to the Chinese youth. It's to help them do math. It's there to educate, inspire, what they consider inspiring. They're going to disagree with our values, of course, so we're not going to view it the same way. But it's there to pass along those ideas and to help them build their brains, essentially, from what I understand. Like I said, never been on it. It's just what I've heard. I've never been to China, so I couldn't tell you. But that's what I've been told. And it makes sense that they would do that there, and then they send this monster that it's become here. Of all the, I understand that if TikTok gets banned, brain rot would not go away. I get it. But to say that it's not a source of, for one, just straight up wasting time, just another place to doom scroll to the extreme too, because they were the first ones that really got this whole thing of short form content down. Just, okay, a couple seconds long video, swipe next, couple seconds. People don't understand what kind of effect that has until they see their screen time. It's really easy to get sucked into that wormhole, because I mean, if you want to put it on a different level, kind of how it's not the same thing, but it's easier to binge a show than to sit down and watch a movie. It's all a mind trick. That's why one of my personal favorites, the Mandalorian. The Mandalorian. They put out episodes that were about roughly 45 minutes to an hour long, and I love that show. That's why it was so easy. I remember specifically during COVID that people were stuck at home and they would just binge watch The Mandalorian. And like I said, it was a good show. But I found it easier to binge watch multiple episodes in a row, multiple just 1 hour long episodes in a row, than to commit to sit down and watch a 2 to 3 hour movie. Why is that? It's all a mind trick. You're thinking, oh, I got to sit down and I got to put this much time into watching a movie. Okay. Whereas with a show, it's like, oh, look at that. That episode's only, 50 minutes long? Like I said, some of them were a little shorter. They were like 45 minutes long. Just like, that's all. Oh, yeah, I can do that. And then you just like, oh, I can't just stop here. I got to keep going. I can't just stop on this episode. It's getting interesting. And that's how you get sucked into it. Same thing goes with content online. See, YouTube videos, it used to be people would sit down. Back in my day, we'd sit down and watch a YouTube video for a while, kiddies. You would subscribe to somebody on YouTube, and whenever they put out a video, come home from work, sit down, fall asleep to a YouTube video that was, 20 minutes long, something like that, and then just during COVID or shortly before, in the year or two before, just became so popular. Just like, oh, just a couple seconds burst of dopamine, and then on to the next, and it's destroyed attention spans. It's so ridiculous, and I'm guilty of it as well. Not on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube Shorts, Facebook, just scrolling the home feed, going through the reels. It's a real thing, I get it, but it's important that you pay attention to what's happening, because, like I said, it's very easy to get caught doom scrolling. Now, I'd say that there are some benefits to it. You get on your break at work, you don't necessarily have time to sit down and watch a half hour YouTube video. So instead, you just go through reels. In my case, the 100 millions that my friends and followers have sent me on Instagram. You know who you are. And, okay, sure, for a short break, okay, and then you got to go back to work. See, you have a cutoff there. That's the thing. You have a cutoff. You have to go back to work if you don't want to get in trouble. You want to keep getting paid. You have a cutoff there, so you can only do it for so long. But when you sit down at home, guilty as charged right here. Not saying I'm not. And you're sitting down at the end of the day, it's very easy to spend hours on, in my case, Instagram Reels. I got to watch it. I got to give myself something to go do after a couple minutes, because otherwise I'll just sit there and waste all my time just going through. So I get it. But to say that TikTok has been purely a benefit, a plus, forget the creators that are on there for a second. Just the effect it's had. It's done some massive changing. I know, obviously, Instagram and YouTube, like I mentioned, have done the same thing with their shorts, their reels, whatever. TikTok was definitely the first. These all started coming out after they saw that people were getting hooked on TikTok, basically. So, it's definitely had some concerns, some effects on society. There's security concerns that all of the data, if you give it camera permissions, I've been told that it can, and on iPhones now it'll have like little green and orange dots when an app is using your microphone and your camera. That's what those dots mean, in case you didn't know, if you've ever seen them. And then if you go to your control center, you swipe down from the top right, or if you're an older iPhone, you swipe up from the bottom. You got to go back a ways to get to that, but you go to the control center where it tells you like if your Wi-Fi is on, your volume, your brightness levels, all that. You know what I'm talking about. And you just saw those dots, but you missed them. It'll tell you if you go there, like if you do that, like right after they come up on your screen, it'll tell you what app has been using them, so you can see what's been using what recently. If you click on it, it'll kind of give you an overview of all the apps that's used them recently. So people have reported that those dots would just come on while they're using TikTok. They're just scrolling through their TikToks, videos, I guess. I'm so used to having two names: Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, but TikTok. That's just one word. Anyway, they're actually scanning to see your reaction, your facial expressions, how you react to what's on your screen, what you're seeing, how you respond. They use that to build their algorithm. Obviously, what you like, that's the most, what you like and comment on and share and save and whatever. That's the most basic form of data. But then furthermore, if they're trying to use your facial expression to figure out what you like, it's a little creepy. Maybe I'm the only one that thinks so, but I'd be a little concerned. And I understand, you start talking a more basic form of what we call big brother, big tech is listening or watching when you talk about something out loud, and then an ad pops up on Facebook, on social media, on Amazon for what you were just talking about when you've never searched it before. Yeah, obviously I'm not gonna be the naive one and be like, oh yeah, they don't spy on you at all. Okay, they're not going to admit to it, but come on now, come on. And honestly, if somebody wants to spy on my life, it's pretty boring. So, whoever it may be, the CIA, the social media companies, whatever, man, they're gonna die of boredom. That's all I'm saying. And if they want to watch the show, they're more than welcome to. But how about the flip side of that? Is this shutting down free speech? Is this a method for them to say, well, we don't like TikTok, so we're going to shut it down? Okay, put the security interests and the China stuff aside. Does the government have a right to do that? Is that within their power to do that? Or are they shutting down a method of free speech? Now, I understand that most of these other companies that I've mentioned are in the U.S. Meta is owned by Mark Zuckerberg in the U.S. Facebook is Meta. Instagram is Meta. X, Twitter is Elon Musk, the U.S. Excuse me. YouTube, Google, U.S. Okay, I get it. Yeah. TikTok is the Chinese one, and I would feel more, maybe you don't care, but I would feel more comfortable with if my data's got to go anywhere, like I said, about the whole people spying, different companies spying on your information, whether you believe it or not. The U.S. based companies have more of my interests than a Chinese based one would, and just the further difference I get of how TikTok is different in China than it is here. Okay, so, but at the same time, you're only banning it in the U.S., and there's a lot of Americans that's on there. Is that, are you trying to crack down? Or are you trying to shut down free speech? Well, we want to do it because it's Chinese. It's a security risk. How many other platforms are there, though, that are Chinese-owned, Chinese-based? Temu? Shein? How do you say that? You know what I'm talking about. Everybody's going to Red Note now. And these different, there's other ones as well. I remember, not as much now. Temu's kind of taken over this, but Wish.com back in the day, where it would take like 35 years for your package to ship to you. You would buy it for pennies on the dollar, and it would ship to you like months later, and you'd forgotten that you'd ordered it. You get what you pay for. I don't know what I'm saying with that, but all these other ones that are Chinese owned, I've heard people getting their information still when they buy from Temu. Like, it's just ridiculous. They're still allowed to operate. Maybe they don't have quite the audience or the user base that TikTok has. Excuse me. Matter of fact, I'm going to look into that. But why wouldn't you ban those too? If that's your whole argument is a security risk. Why wouldn't you crack down on these other ones too? If that's what you were if that was really your goal. It seems a little disingenuous to me. It seems a little bit like they're just trying to get at TikTok, which, like I said, I understand. According to this right here, what is this from? New York Times, 170 million monthly users on TikTok in the U.S. Okay, let's see how much Temu has. What does that say? Statista? 100 million active users. A little bit over 100 million active users. Temu had 82.4. That's a little bit more of an older statistic. So around 100 million, I'd say. People are saying it's a little bit scattered on this, but it does appear that, based on what I'm reading here, that Temu doesn't have as many users as TikTok did. So I understand it's easier to target the bigger company with more American users. But all that to say that we should support our local businesses. If you're maybe not everybody's watching or listening from the US, and that's okay. But for those of us in the U.S., try to support your local businesses anywhere. How about that? We'll say anywhere. People around you that have little mom and pop shops, little local shops, try and support them in your community. I've found sometimes those big corporations can very much be a pain. Actually, I have some stories I could tell about how ridiculous it was to deal with. It was with Amazon. I'll leave it on a cliffhanger. Actually, that's another story for another day. The $300 and something odd that I had to fight to get back, I had to try and get it fixed with Amazon. Ended up having to go to my bank. That's another story for another day, but keep you on edge there a little bit. Support your local shops, your local businesses, because a lot of times they got a better product that they can sell you, and a lot of times they can do it for cheaper too. Now, for some places you might have to pay a little bit more, but a lot of times the shop owners, that's their livelihood. That's what they do. They love what they do. They love to talk with the customers. You say that's not my personality. Okay, I get it. I'm not the most outgoing person either, but I do like to have relations with those in my community. Enjoy stopping into the shop and at a restaurant, you stop in, you talk to the owner, get you a bite to eat. Go to a shop. I have a couple of auto shops that are that way. I love to talk to these people. It's fantastic to get to know them just outside of your friend circle. Just go out and obviously they perform a service for you, but go out into the community and go get to know some people and keep them in business, keep them running. You don't have to go. There's some things you're going to have to go to these larger companies. Like for instance, I go to Walmart every week. That's just how it is. But if you can go to these local businesses, give them some support because they're locally based. A lot of times they take a lot more pride in what they do than these bigger corporations. You can call corporate. Good luck getting through to them a lot of times though, and it's just you know that they can guarantee the product or service because that's what they take pride in. You have a good relationship with them, so they want to give you a good experience, and you keep them in business in turn, and you get to know people in your community. Get out and do that a little bit more. Go support your local businesses. However, there's still some chains that exist, such as chain restaurants. This is the place that I was referring to in the introduction. I know we've been going here for a little bit, so I don't know how much longer I can go. That's okay. That's all right. We've enjoyed our time here today, haven't we? I hope you have. But I went to McDonald's yesterday, and I was waiting to go back to work. I was waiting on. Let's just say I couldn't go back. It wouldn't have made sense for me to go back because I would just be sitting there twiddling my thumbs. It is what it is. Okay. Some days are just like that, Nobody's fault. Just sometimes you gotta have some patience, That's okay. Not everything has to be right here, right now. Not everything has to be about me. Like why isn't this done 5 minutes ago? Sometimes you can wait a little bit. Don't waste your time, but life sometimes requires you to have a little patience, so just hang in there. You're going to live, I promise. But either way, I went to McDonald's yesterday, and normally I just go through the drive-thru because a lot of times I go on my lunch during work, and I have work that I'd like to continue doing. So I just go pick up my food and then take it back to my office, and then I'll just sit up there and I can do work on my computer while I'm eating. I also kind of have a little bit of a break time as well, but continuing the smaller tasks, things that I can kind of monitor while I'm eating. Okay, that's fine. I do it for productivity's sake a lot of times. But yesterday I actually went in and sat in a restaurant and ate, and oh my goodness, what has McDonald's become? Now, if you go to restaurants a lot more and actually sit in there and eat, okay, that's fine. I would end up going by myself a lot of times, so normally I just either take it home or take it back to the office, so I can at least be comfortable while I'm eating. I can have more table space. If I'm at home, I have my own ketchup bottle because I always use way more sauce than I should. But that's how I am. I'll take it with me. I don't really sit in restaurants and eat a whole lot anymore, to be honest with you. COVID kind of ended a lot of that for me. Not to say I never do, but I rarely do now. But yesterday I did, and well, for one, they messed up my order in a good way. They gave me 2 McFlurries, 2 ice creams instead of 1. And I was just like, I already got one. The lady was trying to hand me one. I was just like, and she's like, well, I can't take it back. If you give it back to me, I'm just gonna throw it in the trash. So I'm like, okay, all right, I'll take it. Ended up giving it to somebody else because I don't need two ice creams. I don't need that. I don't need any help with that. So I promise I only ate one. I know you're saying you're fat behind probably ate both of them. No, I didn't. I promise I didn't. I couldn't. By the end of me eating all my food, I couldn't. And if you're gonna go to McDonald's, let me make another side note. Let me rabbit trail here again. I'm gonna go as far as to say it's not worth going to McDonald's anymore unless you use the app, because the deals in there and the rewards points are just like, it makes no sense to just go up and pay full price anymore unless you have to. So I did. I ordered in the app and I went in and I sat down, and my goodness, y'all remember what McDonald's used to be like? You know, we all know that they renovate and stuff and make a more modern design with more dull colors every time, it seems. Most restaurants, most fast food places are trying to go with a, excuse me, coffee's coming back up. They try to go with more of a simplistic modern design, and it looks kind of dull, because when I was growing up, and before that especially, like in the 90s, I grew up in the 2000s. So that's where I'm coming from with this. But even then, I remember restaurants used to have like neon lights in them. These, even just Burger King and Taco Bell would have like these bright colors everywhere. Gave it some character, for goodness sakes. We can go back and call it ugly now, but my goodness, the new designs are just so depressing. Everything's flat and ugh. It's not. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Don't pretend like you don't. It looks cool. Fast food restaurant renovations look cool until they get used, and then they start to get a little dirty, because how restaurants are. I mean, as much as they try and clean them, it's not going to be the same as when you just freshly renovated and it was clean and all new and everything was. It's not the same. It's just how it goes. And then it just looks dull and depressing after that. I remember I'd break it and go over the weight limit now, but I used to be looking for play places in restaurants we'd go to. Those were the days you go down the slide, and some places still do, but they're not as widespread as they used to be, because you go to McDonald's now, or Burger King, or Wendy's, or Taco Bell, or wherever, and now all the kids are just on their parents' phones or on the iPad. I'm just saying that there's another effect that TikTok has had on this society. Everything has become dull. They say it's a simplistic, cleaner design. I say it looks depressing and dull. You might think that the old designs were ugly. Whatever. But regardless of that, the sitting area in general, yesterday when I went in there, and I understand this is McDonald's, the bar shouldn't be too high. I'm just going to base it off of what the restaurants used to look like. Like, they got like 2 tables in the whole place now. They've reduced the seating area by a lot. The one I went to didn't even have like the drink fountain out front anymore, or the ketchup or the condiments, or none of that, or the lids or napkins or none of that out anymore. You couldn't get your own refills. You couldn't do anything for yourself. You'd have to go up to the counter and ask for sauces or napkins or whatever. There was a big old shelf built into the wall with all the mobile order stations. They got that down. They have like plenty of spots out in the parking lot for drive-through and mobile ordering. Yeah, they got all that, because that's what everybody does now. I understand I'm a part of the problem on this. I'm not saying I'm not, but man, just, it's not the same place. It's just not the same place at all. And I know I'm kind of hammering down on McDonald's here, but I know other restaurants like the ones I mentioned, Burger King, excuse me, Burger King, Wendy's, Taco Bell, you know, all these other places, you may have more depending on where you're located. To me, it seems McDonald's has been the worst with this, though. Like, they've taken this to the extreme. It's just, it's just so, like, there's not even decorations on the walls or pictures or none of that anymore. As far as I've seen, Chick-fil-A stayed pretty good though. They've uh, they've not changed a whole lot in their designs. It's probably for the better because people know what the inside of a Chick-fil-A looks like, and familiar is nice. You don't have to change. I don't know why they feel the need to constantly change it. It was fine before. If you want to repair and replace components, sure, but why do you got to completely change the style and the vibe of eating in there? Yeah, it's just so, they barely have a front counter anymore at these restaurants. A lot of these places are moving to ordering kiosks now, which I get it with minimum wage prices and whatnot raising. I do understand that, but there's like nobody that stands at the front counter anymore. Everybody's out at the drive-through. It's not the same. When I was a kid, I would I'd be so excited to go out and eat. I mean, I can't be the only one here that thinks that way. Like begging your parents, like, can we go to McDonald's, please? Can we go get something? Eating at home is so boring. And then you get a Happy Meal, you get the kids meal or whatever. I remember the Burger King used to have the little crown shaped nuggets. Or no, what am I saying? You go to Burger King, you get the little crown. I don't know if they still do that anymore. I haven't been to Burger King in forever because their service is terrible, but I'd go ahead and get me a crown still. I don't care. I am the king. Have it my way, right? They used to be so much more fun. Used to be so much more like you'd want to go there. You'd want to get the Happy Meal. You'd want to get the toy in the meal. Want to see which one you got and see how many you could collect or whatever. And they'd have different series of different action figures or toys or whatever from different shows and movies. Sometimes you get like the little sticker sheet if you're lucky to go with it. And then you go play on the play place. Peak childhood. A little bit of nostalgia there going on, but peak childhood right there again. Now everybody's getting their takeout. Everybody's ordering in the app, myself included. They're getting DoorDash. Okay, I don't do DoorDash. I don't do that. I'll go get. I might be lazy. I might be fat, sassy, and lazy, but I'm not that lazy. I'll go pick up my own food. It's just so, I don't know. The world is changing. You can just see it, and I think this whole era of everybody being online all the time, everybody being on TikTok all the time, everybody being on Instagram, on social media, everybody on their phones. And I've said it before as well about people that record everything that happens in their life. Everybody, even if they're not going to post all of it, they just have it. They're just doing it so they have videos and pictures. Okay, that's fine. But the best memories are made when you actually do something. You actually put your phone down for a little bit, not recording everything you're doing, because that just makes it just buy a body cam at that point. Just put down your phone for a little bit, go experience it, and then honestly the best in my experience anyway, maybe this isn't your experience, I don't know, but you take a picture you go out with friends, you have a good time, you take a picture at the end of it, and then you have that picture you go back and look on, you can be like, oh yeah, I remember what we did that day. Can you believe how crazy it was? You don't go back through all your videos and watch every single one of them in a row like, oh yeah, it makes it less enjoyable in the moment. Live in the moment a little bit. Take your pictures later. I don't know. Maybe this is just a bitter old man shouting at clouds. I don't know. The world is changing. Designs are changing in these restaurants. Everybody wants to disagree, and social media and the internet is in general, in the comment section, have all brought this all to light. Everybody wants to argue with everybody online. Everybody's got to get their 2 cents in. I don't know. It might behoove us to put the devices away for a little bit and live life. I'm not just talking about go out and do work. I mean, just enjoy yourself when you're with your friends, when you're doing something enjoyable. Go do something. And I'm not saying this because a little bit. I'm saying this because of the way that the world looks now, that society looks now. But enjoy yourself. You're going to enjoy yourself a whole lot more if you do that. But I digress. I don't want to be bitter all the time. I don't want to do that. Just pointing out what I'm seeing. Enjoy yourself. And I do mean that because we're out of time. We're out of show here. Hope you have enjoyed yourself and me ranting at you. Not ranting at you, I'm ranting for you. Right. But anyway, I'll make sure that you follow me and keep up to date with all of the latest episodes. Hopefully we can get some more out here. I know it's been a while since I've recorded, but hopefully we can get on a more steady track here with more frequent episodes. So just make sure that you stay in touch, stay in tune, and take care of yourself until the next one. That is all. I'm Mike Lowe, and this is The Mo Show.